Yo, what's going on, guys? Chadley here, and today I just want to talk to you guys about each level of difficulty modifiers and which ones I suggest you guys try to get on your rolls for the modifiers. This will work no matter what Mayhem you're playing, as long as you guys have these difficulty modifiers. Just try to get those specific ones, and I will also walk through about each ones that I use for different characters, because not every single character is going to use the same modifiers. Whether you guys like it or not, these modifiers are going to be a part of builds here in Mayhem 10 or just in general Mayhem 2.0. They are incredibly important, and if you guys build your builds around them, it's going to make a huge difference picking the right one. You guys will do drastically different amounts of damage depending on what modifiers you're using. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the easy category. Now there are 3 in here that I like to use. And the first one being Speed Demon. I almost exclusively use this just because I like to be able to move fast without a snowdrift. It works very well. I don't play like a driver Amara, so I do like to use Speed Demon on everybody basically except for Zane. Zane has enough movement speed without a snowdrift already, so that's why I use Speed Demon on Flak and Moze and then Phazerker Amara. So with those, you guys can increase your survivability like crazy, especially during the Wotan fight. If you guys kill a couple like of the Death Spheres or whoever flying around Wotan, you guys can avoid a ton of the missiles and lob shots that Wotan shoots at you. Now, the second modifier that I really like to use, especially if you guys are using a Ties That Bind Amara, is Slayer. And if you guys haven't heard what Slayer can do with Ties That Bind, basically it's kind of like using the Malawan heavy backpacks and exploding them while they're in your Ties That Bind, and that backpack explosion damage is shared amongst all of the Ties That targets. So with Slayer, if you have one of the people glowing blue up in your Ties That Bind, you can melee them and it will insta-kill everything that is attached to Ties That Bind. I don't know if this is going to stay like this. It might easily get patched here in the near future, but even if that does get patched, this still is a very, very good modifier to be using on the easy slot. Now this last one I'm going to mention mainly because of a interaction it can have with Minesweeper on Moze, and that is More Than OK Boomer. This should boost your Minesweeper nades damage, but usually I just like to stick to Speed Demon. But if you don't mind moving super slow and you just want as much damage possible, I would use More Than OK Boomer. Also, we might see a fix for the non-scaled grenades that we have right now. So if grenades start scaling to Mayhem 10, this could be a huge skill to have if you guys are running a grenade build, no matter what the character is. Now let's go ahead and move on to our mediums. And there's really only one that I ever suggest that you guys have for medium, and that is Healy Avenger. This skill, you don't even notice it affecting the enemies. Really all it does is buff you by dropping the health and shield charges, which is awesome. Definitely helps you guys survive, especially with Flak and Moze. But now moving down to the hard difficulty is where it starts getting a little bit more interesting. Now the one I almost always go for is Drone Ranger. They actually just took that out of the game today because it was causing an audio bug, but I would imagine this Thursday is going to be implemented back into the game. You barely notice Drone Ranger. The health regen it gives enemies is not even noticeable. I've played several days with it. I barely even see their health moving when I'm not shooting them and the drone is healing them. So that's the one I really like to use. And you can also easily just kill the drones, especially if you're playing Moze with like a lot of splash damage. They usually get caught in that splash damage. But for right now, while that modifier is out of the game, I'm either using Laser Flare or Chain Gang. Chain Gang is probably a little bit more annoying than Laser Flare in my opinion. Laser Flare, you don't notice the little spinning laser all that much. You can easily just move away from it. It's not that big of a deal. Also, you can destroy it if you choose so, but normally I'll just move away and keep fighting enemies in just a slightly different spot. Now finally, we're down to the very hard modifiers. These make a huge difference, especially for the different characters and different builds. So starting off, one of the ones I really like to use on Amara and Zane is Roguelite. Amara and Zane really don't go down all that much to begin with, so this is a super neutral modifier that you can have here. The enemies aren't going to take any less damage or increase damage with like say Holy Crit or something like that. Roguelite is completely neutral, and even if you go down, If you just start shooting at an enemy, just holding the trigger as you're going into that fight for your life animation, you can stay alive in fight for your life for a while and get second wins. I believe this is an interaction with the new Guardian rank skill all the way at the bottom in the blue tree. I always forget its name, but it gives you more fight for your lifetime depending on how much damage you're doing. This can kind of cancel out Roguelite a little bit, and you can get second wins pretty easy. And then the very hard modifier that I'll almost exclusively use on Mo's is Buddy System. Mo's almost all the time is using something splash related, some sort of area of effect. So Buddy System is really not that big of a deal. Even though the enemies are immune, you can easily kill those drones just by shooting at nearby enemies to that drone. Or if you really need to just kill like a single target that's left and he's immune, you can kill the drone in just a couple shots. It's really not that big of a deal. I was a little swayed off from Buddy System at first, but after playing with it for a little bit, it definitely is the way to go for Mo's. And occasionally I will use it on Flak. But for Flak, the one I almost exclusively use, and you guys could probably guess it, is Holy Crit. This is going to give you bonus crit damage, but you're going to be doing less to the body. Flak is obviously our crit character. We have Megavore that we can deal crits all the time, basically. And obviously with fadeaways and stuff like that, you guys are going to be dealing crits almost exclusively. So having that bonus 2 crits is huge, and you don't really see that much of the negative side of Holy Crit. So yeah, guys, hopefully all of those modifiers that I mentioned really help you guys out. The other ones I almost never use. Things like Pool Party or the medium modifiers that make certain things immune to certain damages. I really don't use those because a lot of the times you do end up using a lot of different elements in a lot of different builds. So I don't even bother with those. Maybe if you're really not going to be using cryo damage at all, you can throw that one on or something. But it's very situational. Healy Avenger is definitely the way to go for medium. But everything else, hopefully that really helps you guys out. As like I said, you are going to have to re-roll these to make them fit your builds. It's incredibly important. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below or come over to our stream and ask me over there. I can give you guys much more in-depth answers through talking rather than typing. Otherwise, if you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more Borderlands content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a new Mo's build coming out. It's a Minesweeper Mo's, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.